Hello everybody and welcome back to NCAA 2004, and we are here getting through our very last out-of-conference game of the season against the top 25 now ranked Florida State Seminoles, and they are ranked in the top 25 because their only loss of the year comes to Maryland, who of course is another top-ranked team here in the same conference as Florida State, who Florida State managed to get past last year to win the ACC and make it to the Sugar Bowl, where they would get trounced by us. They got beat badly by us. And even more surprising about that game, because it hasn't been that long, it's only been, as you can see, 6 games, 6 weeks or whatever, since we've technically played that game, and Florida State is a completely new look roster, guys. I don't think there's anyone, actually there's a receiver on this team who was on there last year. But outside of that, everyone on this Florida State team is completely different. At least their starters are completely different. And that is very bizarre because a lot of the starters in the Sugar Bowl were not seniors. A lot of those were juniors. Their quarterback, who remember had a couple mistakes in that game, Eric Cummings, I think was his name, he was a sophomore, and he's off the roster entirely. I didn't even see him listed in their QB depth chart. He's just gone entirely. So I'm going to guess here that Florida State got a little bit deeper, man, maybe made some cuts, some necessary cuts. I don't know. Because, every team, even the CPU, has to go through all those same cuts that we have to go through. I like to play pretty smart where I don't have to lose a lot of talent, but maybe Florida State, man, they just found themselves with too many quarterbacks, didn't need one, and Eric Cummings was the one who got the boot. So kind of a weird situation for the Seminoles here, but they are still ranked 21. They're 5-1 heading into this game with a good chance to beat the number 1 ranked team in the nation in their own house. So we'll see how successfully that goes for them, but Ryan Barton in a short third-yard situation across the middle to Thomas Samples for a nice pickup to get us inside the 30 and continue our drive. So already Florida State's defense struggling to contain us here in these short yardage situations. On 1st and 10, Barton going to try and run it here. Fakes out the first defender here and pitches it off to Dimitri Lehman, who cuts upfield for a nice pickup. And Lehman, we're already kind of watching what Dimitri Lehman is doing here in this season, because I want to make sure that he at least outproduces J.J. Wright. It would at least make my decision to start him over Wright a little bit more justified, and I think he's going to get there, so I'm not super worried. And that's exactly why we made that decision, folks. That play right there is exactly why we make that decision. Dimitri Lehman jukes out a defender who's immediately in the backfield, meets him in the backfield, jukes him out, and then just relies on the speed to surge up the middle into the end zone to get the first touchdown for the Crimson Tide. So now 7-0 is the score here, but Florida State with a 3rd and 4. Their quarterback Derek Ellis drops back to pass here, throws it kind of awkwardly off of a foot, but that is going to be caught. So as awkward as it is, we gotta give it to him because he did get it there, and that dude's an absolute unit. That quarterback is massive. He could be a tight end with that size. He probably will be if he makes it to the league. That probably will be his role if he ever makes it to the NFL. I doubt it. But 3rd and 12 now for the Seminoles here, and now Ellis back through the air once again, and that pass is going to be caught in double coverage and somehow going to be brought down in the end zone for a touchdown is Florida State's top receiver now, Lenny Ramsey. And interesting enough, as I was talking about, they're changing in starters. No receiver on this team is over 75. That person I just mentioned, Lenny Ramsey, is the top receiver at 75 overall. So, and that is how Florida State is making a living here right now in this season, in year number 8, year number 9. I lose track. But the defense comes up big here and blocks us up. It's Sick Naben keeping the boys on the field. Ryan Barton tries to go for a QB sneak, and he's going to get stuffed at the line, so we're not going to convert on it. So Sick Naben likes to be aggressive in these certain kind of situations, I think almost as a punishment for not converting on the 3rd down, but it does not pay off. And now Florida State's got this one heading the other way, as their running back, Charlie Benton, is going to get a nice big pickup on the ground here to get Florida State at least, kind of flip the field a little bit here. So 3rd and 1 for the Seminoles here. They're going to go with a fullback dive. Fullback redirects, almost gets caught up in the backfield, but he's going to get the first down, and that's Carlin Dunbar who's able to get the first down for Florida State and continue this drive moving forward. So find ourselves in a little bit difficult of a situation trying to keep Florida State out of the end zone, and Ellis drops back to pass and somehow finds Jax Wagner, the one returning receiver from last season who's still on this team, and Florida State taking a 7-point lead over the Crimson Tide here. So on another 3rd and short, and Barton has a nice clean pocket. There was a clear running lane to at least move up and find an open receiver, but again, man, we've been talking about Ryan Barton just hanging on to the football a little bit too long, and that was another prime example. So bring up another 4th down opportunity. Sick Naben going to try and force it. Barton, pressure is coming. He gets rid of it down the sideline, and who else? That's J.J. Wright. It's the backup running back, J.J. Wright, along the sideline on on a 4th down. Signaban sent him out there, and here he is, man, letting us know that maybe he deserves to be out there on the field as well. I don't know about that. That's not going to convince me, but that's a nice play from J.J. Wright. Free as a bird, completely booty butt naked on the sideline, getting into the end zone. And that's going to tie us up at 14 apiece at the end of the first half. And we are battling right now with the Seminoles, man. We are battling. Ellis, deep in their own end, takes a shot downfield, and that pass is tipped, but still caught. That ball was tipped and somehow still caught, man. I don't know how. I don't know how. I mean, that happens a lot in this game, the tip passes and stuff, but it was still a spectacular play to see. Let's get another look at it here as someone gets their hand on it. I believe it was Kennedy, maybe, the safety. I think it was Tyler Kennedy who got a hand on it, but bring up a 3rd and 16 for Florida State, moving backwards now. Ellis needs to come up with an answer, and he finds Jax Wagner inside the 15, man. Absolutely rockets that ball to him for a nice completion. You got to give it to the Seminoles on that one, man. That was a good pass. Good rocketed pass from Ellis, and Ellis has quite the arm, man. I'm impressed by the arm talent I'm seeing on that quarterback, man. He's really just, I mean, you see how big he is. He's just rocketing that football wherever he wants it, and he's going to try and do it once again, and it's Wagner once again making us pay for it with another touchdown for Florida State. And now the Seminoles, man, retaking the lead. And we are really, really battling with Florida State. If you watched the Sugar Bowl, you wouldn't think that would be the case, man. But Florida State definitely came to play today. So Barton floats this one up to about 2 different receivers, but fortunately, one of ours at least comes down with it. I think it was Max Price who was able to cut that ball off, and it looked like Thomas Samples might have been looking for it too. I'm not sure, man. It was a whole mess out there. But 1st and 10 for the Crimson Tide at the Florida State 30. Barton floats one across the middle, and there's Thomas Samples getting absolutely spun out. Nearly gets his head taken clean off, but he hangs on to the football, and that's why we love the physicality of Thomas Samples. And now it's going to be goal to go from about the 9-yard line. Barton back to pass here, takes a shot to the right side of the field, and that pass is going to be caught by the pylon, and it's Stephen Baker, the freshman, who's been doing quite a bit for us so far in this season here. He gets himself another touchdown pass on the year, rocking the new 89. So tied up at 21 apiece heading into the 4th quarter, man. It all comes down to this, the final 8 minutes to decide a victor here. Ellis back to pass all day to throw. Another rocketed ball, but that's going to be Tyler Kennedy, who picks that ball off. He gets himself another interception on the season, and he has been absolutely great for us at the strong safety position. He picked off last week in Arkansas, so great to see. And now Barton's got to move the boys forward here as he floats this one out and gets a pass completion to Broderick Black, the tight end, to continue moving this drive. But after some negative plays, 2nd and 16, Barton moving back to pass here, floats one out here across the middle of Samples. Samples with a juke move, finds open space and gets into the end zone for a touchdown. And that was a play that was going to be dead behind the line to gain and ends up becoming a touchdown because, again, the physicality of Thomas Samples, man. It's all in the ankles, baby. Boom. That's why you tape them up. Look at that. Threw 2 Seminole defenders out of their shoes in order to make that play happen. A beautiful touchdown for Samples and the Crimson Tide. So 28-21 is the score, but still plenty of time for Florida State. Ellis rockets another one. It's picked off once again, and this time it's going to head all the way back inside the 10, and it's Tyler Kennedy once again. So Tyler Kennedy now has Ellis's number for Florida State, man, and it doesn't seem that Derek Ellis can get that ball anywhere else on the field other than Tyler Kennedy's hands. And yeah, man, just read that one from the very beginning, trying to force that one to Jax Wagner, and I don't think it was ever going to happen. Beautiful play by Kennedy. Almost gets a pick 6 on this one, but goal to go is just as good because we're going to hand this one off to the fullback, Robbie Tanner, and he's going to get into the end zone for another Crimson Tide touchdown. And now things are just starting to unravel for the Seminoles here in the 4th quarter. And you hate to see that, man, in a game that was probably one of our more competitive games of the year, but on 4th and 7 out of desperation, Ellis flips one out, and that pass is going to be broken up. Great defense by the Crimson Tide. And now Florida State is going to put their tail between their legs and escape out of Tuscaloosa, only hanging on to a 14-point L here. It's a lot better than they did last year. They lost by 18 points, or 28 points last year in the Sugar Bowl, and now they only lose by 14. So they've cut it in half. So maybe next year they'll be able to at least take us into overtime. I don't know. But I don't plan on playing Florida State again here. I think 2 times is good here. Best out of 3, we took both. We took the series. That's in baseball terms. We took the series. So, but Florida State, we're going to knock them out of the top 25. We're going to hang hang on to the number one spot here, and our gauntlet just continues as we continue to feast. And running the football did very well. We didn't focus a ton on rushing the football because, again, a lot of those plays, they don't really net to points. I don't really focus too much on them. But we did run effectively. And also in the red zone. Both teams effective in the red zone. Both teams pretty effective on third down. 8 for 10 versus 7 for 10. So very interesting stats to look at. Ryan Barton completion percentage, man, just continues to be something to look at. I think he's going to break our school record for it. I can't remember who did, or maybe rating is what I was thinking of. Because I think Carlos Cobb had the record, and then I think it got broken maybe by Stephen Bentley. I can't remember, but that record has been exchanged a couple times. But Ryan Barton, he'll be on some record watches. We need to look at his season because he might be on some record watches. I'm pretty sure of that. I want to pay attention to that when the season comes to a close. But coming out of that game, we go to the Hub World and absolutely curb stomp Ole Miss, and that's going to take us into our penultimate rivalry game against Tennessee, who's now ranked 14th. They're 7-1 on the season, so it's the same game. You guys know it is, man. Every year we're doing this. So hope to see you guys back in Tuscaloosa when we take on the Volunteers, ranked number 14.